February 13. Believe it or not, I filmed on this day. This is the third video I filmed in one day alone, even though it might be uploaded at different times, because I haven't been this flexible recently in terms of getting videos out. I had to just concentrate on certain things. Anyways, guys, I think it wasn't too much of a surprise of an update coming up, even though it came a little bit later than 4. But anyways, I need to give you an update on what life has been like under a second lockdown. Before I get to that, let me just recap what the first lockdown was. It was literally nearly complete, basically. First lockdown, which occurred towards the end of March, everything was shut down except a few, well, essential reasons of supermarkets and emergency stuff like hospitals and stuff, you know what I mean. With restrictions in place towards the majority of the public, in terms of freedom of movement, they couldn't do very much. Basically, when we were on lockdown, pretty much towards the rest of the spring, there were only very, very limited things we could do. For some people, shopping, ideally with just themselves and infrequently as possible. One form of exercise per day, whether it's a run, walk or cycle with yourself or 2 members of your friends or family or something like that. Care for a vulnerable person who they really need help, medicine or whatever. And you can only travel for work, but only when absolutely necessary. It cannot be done from home. And these were the only exceptions. You will be allowed to leave your home. Other than that, it was a complete lockdown, and life has just been horrendous. That gradually eased over the summer, and then I kind of saw it coming, to be honest with you. Ever since by autumn, cases have just suddenly increased, possibly because of schools and colleges, universities heading, back to some form of normality, which wasn't their fault. It's so difficult to control the virus, really. It's not always about the minority breaching those rules. And then I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not making this up, I actually predicted the lockdown would actually come. I kind of thought it would come around October, or would be very strict lockdown towards November, and I wasn't that far off, because we wasn't some stage of lockdown by November, not quite as intense as last time. If those of you who are watching outside of the UK, then this is probably a more suitable video for you, but if those who are living in the UK, it may be predictable what I'm saying. But basically, lockdown's not as intense, schools and colleges stay open. Now, this is a bit of a 50-50 controversial debate. Some said this shouldn't be accepted because children can easily spread the virus of your family members or someone you're friends with or whatever, and then obviously then passing that over. Whilst others said they need the schools and colleges to be open so it can provide vital education and learning for the students, and it would be more official to do it mostly in class than online. So it's just been a 50-50 debate, but it went ahead as planned. But mostly everything was shut down. There was a bit more shops that were open last time, and there was still a lot of people, still quite a few people out on the streets. For example, which I regularly go to every week. It wasn't really it wasn't like a tumbleweed town. It was still like probably about 50 to 70, roughly between 50 to 75% reduced capacity in the people out in the streets. But even that, it still didn't look that empty to me. And yeah, basically, it's not really, in my theory, a lockdown. It's just a partial lockdown. But in a way, I'm glad, because of my well-being, I'm glad that the schools and colleges are staying open. And potentially, I've got a feeling this could actually end by December. I'm going to tell you why. Obviously, I've also found out universities with students, this has been a complete mess with arrangements at universities. Students obviously go back there around mid to late September or early October. They go into the halls. It's the freshest week, I think the week before the classes they do in the universities form in October. This is just, it went out of control. Certain universities, for example Manchester, I think Nottingham as well, and somewhere in northwest England, they had a the coronavirus cases have just completely skyrocketed up. So we saw, like, in the space of just a few days, 1,000 cases in a single university, if not even more than that, close to 10,000 and maybe a few of them. But even that, it's been an absolute nightmare. Literally nearly every bubble had to self-isolate 14 days. And then for one example, in Manchester University, they had to lock them down. They've been treated like prisoners. That's not right. That's a dreadful atmosphere to be in. The students, even though they didn't have to self-isolate for safety reasons, had to stay confined to their rooms. I don't know when, I think it was 2 weeks, maybe longer than this, until the virus situation got under control. So they had to lock the area up with metal gates. The students couldn't get out of the room. That's torture. They need to get some freedom out. Locking them in their rooms is going to completely damage their well-being. Completely. That's just ludicrous. And then, unsurprisingly, I think a week or two ago, they finally had enough. They managed to get the rooms and then the gates down. And then a few days later, they said every university student can come home before Christmas, but they must get tested and have to self-isolate before then. So, yeah, honestly, this was not going to work. And then basically, what is going to happen with universities is every student goes home, and then a date came up. I had an email about this from college. I don't know why it was said about university students, but I think students are living in universities plus college student accommodations, whatever. Every student then will have to be home doing online learning from Wednesday the 9th of December until further notice. So it's possible that universities may not open for most students for the rest of the year now, even if things completely improve. And that's just my theory. My theory is that students probably won't be allowed to go to university until next year, if they were staying, that is. But honestly, and I've even seen a few videos that students even dropped out of uni for the same reasons. I'm not going to get too much into depth, but this just proves it's just been an absolute. I mean, it's not completely the university's fault. It's such an unpredictable situation, but it's just been an absolutely horrendous experience. I feel it goes out to all the students who have to deal with this, especially those in Manchester. It's just been horrific. But basically, also with that, the lockdown is 4 weeks. I forgot to mention that. Started from Thursday the 5th, bonfire night, till Wednesday the 2nd of December, which will make up to 4 weeks of the calendar year. But I've got a feeling it's going to be extended. The cases are dropping. I know it's only been a week, so it may still be too soon to answer. But there's no evidence the cases are dropping. In fact, they may be levelling, they may be a tad higher. But only were a week ago, which is never a good sign. The deaths are increasing, but they always come as a lag, and they do come a couple of weeks later, so we're not at the peak of the deaths yet. But I've got a horrible feeling in a couple of weeks' time, schools and colleges could then be shut, because if evidence shows the students are still passing the virus on, that's why the figures are staying around now at a similar rate. So I don't know, but that will be disastrous for some, and they may not be able to get any work complete and stuff because of their mental well-being in pieces. So yeah, I've just got this horrible feeling. It's hopefully I'm wrong, because some of my theories on coronavirus predictions have been spot on in terms of lockdown coming in place at the time of the year. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I can always do another update about it. And other than that, guys, the only difference is college is open. I'm not confined to my area, home area all the time. I can able to go to Loughborough and get some education done. That's it. But even that is far better than last time, and I'm not as unhappy as I was, for the most part. That is it for this video, guys. I'll get another video in the not too distant future. And other than that, please stay safe out there, guys. And don't make any stupid decisions. Alright, guys, like, comment, and subscribe, and please stay safe. Storm is now out.